Mr. Monday, no name will get a carrying stuff. Look at the lamp mission. They gave me a study department. Then about land that. Bumano, committee, and document there. But I knew and came and a lot of you know, pass up, Kaji, land that. The second question, our register from I don't know where my pen. But what is it? If I register the same project, I register. It's a paper I need at the court. The calculator will be at the bar. Well, they don't know what in Nakania. But if you are the to perform your Yemen, I will not answer.
So please, ma ekudurusu. No, he a register. He a register ishipon. He a register no ewe no. No ke ekule ntishpo eku komo homo. Aka register mo. Man ke durusu e register ishipon ewe no. Te ko ba se le te ni manage ni la ko
The traditional allegiance, as we've been made to understand, is now different from the political boundary allegiance. So, and it's not only in Greater Accra. There are people in Ahafo region, even in Bono region, who pay allegiance to the Asante enemy because it is just political boundaries, just for administrative purposes, but not traditionally where people actually belong. So you may the people may be Tamils, but they may have fallen in Eastern region, or their land may have fallen in Eastern region. It does not change their traditional allegiance. So for purposes of assembly and development purposes, that is why the political boundaries has been set. But the allegiance in terms of traditional control still remains. So people cross regions to go to where their people are. So it's the same with the municipalities that has been created. Maybe formally you were all in one assembly, but with the proper, with the redemarcation to help our political leaders in easy administration of particular places. One traditional area may even be divided into three. They are in Lekama, they are in Tema, and they may be in another place. So I think we have to find space in our heart to accept that so that we can work peacefully together with our political leaders, because sometimes they are also looking at the development and effective administration of particular places, not traditional allegiance per se. That is what I would say to that.
One portion of the land, one same land, portion falls in Greater Accra, portions falls in the Eastern region. And so who comes to take revenue over there? West will come there to say that they are taking money from the developers, and it is creating a whole lot of problems. So if we want to join this secretariat, how do we get this thing solved so that when we know we are under it, when you come any problem, I'll come and hold you responsible.
These three
that's all.
Different areas. They will be managed in terms of revenue mobilization by three different regions. So the portion, because it is clearly demarcated on paper and translated onto the ground and translated to the records of the commission, you have officers from the central region collecting revenue from a particular portion of your land. They will be accounting to you separately from those who began accounting from the Eastern region. So in fact, the Customary Land Secretariat has come to solve a lot of problems for us. We've talked about a lot of things, but we couldn't talk about this particular issue.
So what about development in the area?
So, because a portion of the revenue will be going to another district assembly, in fact, it will be going to potentially three district assemblies. They will all be undertaking developments within their jurisdictions. So that is that's what we envisage. The secretariats will bring sanity in the system, because you can have one boundary plan that would show as many assemblies that fall within your land. So basically that is what we envisage.
Land commission was different, land title was different, survey was different, valuation was different. The law brought us together in Act 767, 2008, and then from 2009, these integration processes have continued. And now there has been so much improvement, but there's still more room for further improvement. So we are working at it so that when you get there, that's why we need CLS more seriously. Because if we have a lot of collaboration and a lot of things are streamlined, it will help us to be, because if the document goes to survey and the site plan is produced, then the document has to be attached to the plan before you submit it for proper concurrence. So after concurrence, let's say even before concurrence, then the document has to be stamped. When it stamps, then you go through the concurrence before you go and start registration. Sometimes financial is part of it. If we have to make sure that if we have to, it has to be similar, it means that when you bring a site plan, we have to calculate all the fees for you to pay all upfront. And somebody may not have all the money at the go, but hopefully gradually we will get there. The other thing is that the State Lands Commission do not come to court when they are called. The truth is that our lawyers are so few. Look at how big Greater Accra is, and so many courts. The lawyers in Accra are not up to 20, but the courts are all over, from Benchele to Ashama to Tema to Sege to the land courts are about 12 in the court complex, before Court of Appeal, before Supreme Court, before even before you go to Adenta. Adenta has about 3-4 hours before you go to Soutio. So if government gives us more room to employ people, then we'll be able to have more lawyers to attend to the cases. But I must also add that some of the cases we are nominal defendants, because it is between you and the one who shares boundary with you. When you win, Lands Commission has no choice but to amend the records to reflect that this is what the judgment says is in your favor. So those ones, we only come as nominal defendants. We don't, what we come there to say will not change things much. That is why they will, because they are overwhelmed. Let's say he has about 30 cases. Some are government and some are very critical. Some we are just nominal defendants. So we should have gone to court and tell the judge that because we are nominal defendants, my lord, you may go ahead, whoever wins, we will work with the people, because we are neutral people. But because we are overwhelmed, they may not come at all. But the critical ones, we make sure we appear to help the judge settle the cases. Thank you.
So that instead of establishing administrators of 2 land offices everywhere, the Customary Land Secretariat will be revenue collection points for us. And so you are the landlord, you are seeing what is coming in, people are paying to us through you, so you can see what is coming in, and you can actually audit what we eventually pay back to you. So yes, the Customary Land Secretariat will be able to mobilize ground rent on our behalf. The receipts you'll be using will be our receipts. So we'll give you the counterfoil receipts you use to collect the monies. So even before we pay you, you know what is coming to you. And then the third question is, what support you can expect from the Lands Commission and then the Office of the Administrator of State Lands. The Land Act, if you look at between sections 14 onwards, it itemizes what we should do as an office for you. The law says that we should provide technical service. We should provide guidance. So right from the beginning, before you establish the Secretariat, we will come in and tell you what you need to do. Because the Secretariat, I always equate it to a bank. You are going to be storing valuable documents, land documents, and so on and so forth. So it should be it should be fortified. It should be like a bank. Because somebody wants to hurt the family, and the CLS is the target. Once they're able to get into your CLS and take all your documents away, you are down. So we will provide all the guidance that you need, even in recruiting staff to serve at the Secretariat. We will help you what kind of people you should look out for. About everything, technical guidance, the office will provide. Now, once the Secretariat is established, we will come in and provide training. So we'll train ADR. We have done it recently in Sunyani. Last week we were in Gwewu or bombing to establish, to inaugurate the CLS there. We'll be providing training for them as well. So it's a partnership. You cannot do it without us, and we cannot do it without you. So we'll do it hand in hand right from the beginning throughout the process. So we'll provide that technical service. In the past, under LAP, we were providing equipment. We were providing motorbikes, computers, and so on and so forth. To the extent that even sometimes we're providing basically everything. Allowances for people who work at the Secretariat. Unfortunately, the land administration project has ended, and we don't have that kind of funding. We will support you in any way that we want, but unfortunately, we cannot buy motorbikes for you. We cannot pay your electricity bills and pay your staff. That is your responsibility as landlords. And we believe that if a CLS is run like a business, in fact, a CLS is a business. It should be run for profit. You are resolving disputes, you collect money for that. You are preparing everything you do. In fact, the law says that if you look at the law, the sources of funding, it says the CLS can render services and charge fees for them. So in fact, I would encourage everyone to review the Land Act, section 17 onwards. Everything is there. It provides everything that the Secretariat can do. And so I think to GRE, and it's charged at 6% of the pre-tax value of the mineral. So if they harvest 100 cedis worth of chippings, they will pay 6 cedis of that to GRE as mineral royalty. Mineral royalty will keep some in the consolidated fund and then release a certain portion for us to be paid to you. So mining companies or the quarries have to pay mineral royalty. In addition to that, we have to pay concession rent. Concession rent is equivalent to ground rent. We have just, for ease of reference, we have categorized it into concession rent. It's the same ground rent, except that it is fixed by Parliament, and it's currently 50 cedis per acre. So that is the arrangement. So when we mobilize that amount of money, we pay it back to the landowners.
I wanted to add something because when you were talking, one of the requesters, he said the people don't register the leases if they give them the land. So it's very, very important. That's why when we set up the Secretariat and we are working with Office of Administrator of Student from Lands Commission, very soon an officer may be attached to each Secretariat from the Lands Commission, working with OASL to help you so that when you sell the land, common basic ledgers you should keep, and how he will help you with the way your documents should be, so that the data every quarter, all the documents, the lands you have sold, should be able, we should provide a liaison to help them come to Lands Commission so that they will register the documents, and then you could even have copies filed, how to file things, how to do all those, so that you are keeping proper records for your posterity. Because all these arguments that always happen, the only way it will cease is when there are proper documentations for the allocations that you make. It's not that the land allocations or land grants are not going on. It is the documentation that is not happening. And so, if you sell land to somebody and you don't quickly do the lease, and the person is sitting on the land, thank God for Office of Administrator of Student. Now they will be collecting the ground rent, but there is no term, there is no covenant, nothing. You see, land is a bundle of rights. It's not just the land being sold. So the necessary covenants and the term, so that you know that after 50 years, your son, your grandson can have the opportunity to renew with the person. If there is no document, he will stay on it forever. It's almost like freehold. So that is why we need to ensure that documentations happen. It will be the means by which it will continually bring benefit to you, to your family. Okay, so it borders from what we started talking about in the morning, that we want to plead with traditional owners, chiefs, family heads. If you have land, make the effort, especially if you have judgment. Register the judgment. If you have judgment and you don't come with a company side plan to register, remember, as I said, in most of the cases, we are not major defendants, so we may not even be in the court. You have gone to court with somebody, you have won, but kindly bring the judgment and make the effort to register it so that it will be there, black and white, so that if somebody bring another document which is different, which has no relation, if it's not from you, Lands Commission can easily look at it and say, please, this place is for somebody. It's not for you. If you insist, you may have to go to court with the person before we can deal with you. So what happens is that many of you have judgments. It is not in our records. Many of you own large tracts of land. Over the years, you have not taken steps to register it. So sometimes, Lands Commission has worked like, excuse my language, like blind people. Because somebody just take a claim and come and say, this 100 acres belong to me. Nobody, nothing is preventing it in the records. We don't have any contrary claim. It's difficult for us. And so sometimes you cannot just use, sometimes you are fortunate, the officer may have head knowledge and may alert you. What about if he's a stranger like me who just came from Upper West and was working in Greater Accra? I may not have knowledge about who is this, who is that, and I may wrongly do it through no evil intention because I have been deceived. And I didn't have any contrary knowledge or information to stop that person. So please, let's get to work and make sure that it doesn't matter how big your land is, because land in Accra is of great value. So if even you need to sell 10 acres to register 500 acres, do it so that it will protect your interests. Because remember, if you register, if somebody comes to register a declaration, he is taking the land for good. Okay, but if you even grant, it is for a term, and your posterity will continue to renew. That's why we are pleading with you that have the Secretariat. If you have a Secretariat who are watching, who are making sure they are looking at the books every day, making sure things are done consistently between us and you as the landowners, they are always engaging Lands Commission, then things will be done right for you. But if we go to sleep, land is of huge value in Greater Accra. Things may happen on our plan side. So prevention is better than cure. But once it is done, it doesn't mean that is the end. You have power to petition the commission and bring the issues clearly before the commission. It may, from the officers, it may go to the board, a decision. The next thing is that you can go to court. You have remedy. That Lands Commission has wrongly registered somebody's land on your land. We will be subpoenaed to come to court, and if we come and say that, well, we didn't know if it happened because the person made a claim, he has even deceived us as public officers, the judge will do the right thing, and the judge will order Lands Commission to expunge it from the records. So, even if it happens, unfortunate, it shouldn't happen, but sometimes it happens. Like I'm explaining to you, we can be deceived because we don't know. So you take the steps, and then it can be reversed, and then we'll comply with the court and expunge it from the records. That will save you. You cannot just sit down and say that because Lands Commission has made a mistake, it should stay there perpetually. That will not be good. So let's take steps, those that it has happened like that, so that we help correct the issue. Let me quickly also jump to say criteria by which lands are registered. The criteria is very simple. We exist as Lands Commission to help you, traditional owners, register your lands. So anybody who walks to Lands Commission that a so and so traditional area or stool has sold land to him, we will go through our protocols to register the land for the person. That is why we are happier if you register your bigger land, so that if somebody brings it and it is not you who has given the land to the person, we can easily say no to the person. But if you don't do that, you incapacitate us. You don't empower us to work for you. So we are confused. And then so that is why this law, when the LI is passed, we will become very strict that any traditional area which doesn't register Islam, when you sell land to people, we will not register it. Because the law says that now, all of you should register your bigger interest. If you fail to do that, the LI is to be laid before Parliament soon. Once it passes, we will stop registering land for people who sell land that they have not registered their mother document. Let me use that language so that we will understand. Because we see that is the only way the accusation against Lands Commission will also stop. We are also tired of being accused every day of things we don't know. But the way you can help us to work well for you is that come forward, have a secretariat. Let's have officers we can deal with on a daily basis. Move ahead, register your bigger interest. Then there is clarity. We can work with our eyes open. Then we say that this is for A, B, you can't sell land here. This is for C, D, you can't sell land here. Then we are all good to go. Thank you.
Yeah, to add something more to what he just said. In certain areas, I think Agumu area, if your document does not come from the Customary Land Secretariat, Lands Commission will not look at it. So that is what we envisage, that if there's a CLS in a particular area, then you have to go there for them to stamp it or authenticate it that it is coming from this recognized office. Then certain certainty and clarity will be brought onto the matter. So I want to entreat Nanano and then Nime that this secretariat that we are bringing forth or we are talking to you about is very important. It can help sanitize your land dealings so that they could have direct interaction with Lands Commission and documents can be registered directly. Let me tackle two issues that came up that I captured. One of them, I think that one I will throw it to Timothy to handle it. Because he was talking about layouts that conflicts with Lands Commission layout that is here. Their local plans. That was from English here, Amanfro. He was saying that some of the plans that they go to facilitate and get them brought to Lands Commission. By the time they bring it, Lands Commission will also be saying that there's a plan already in place and all that. So it looks to me there's a coordination sort of problems there coming. So one of the chiefs was saying that their land, part falls in Koforidua and part in Accra. Now he's seen all these nice projects that the Office of the Administrator of Students has helped the some areas to establish. So how would they benefit? The issue is that the stool land revenue is divided into three main components. The first one for the stool is for the chief or is for the stool in keeping with his status. So that one is for the stool alone. Then there's also a portion that goes to the traditional council. So if you are a stool and your traditional council is, let's say, Simpe or whatever it is, they are also getting their share. Then the assembly's portion, the law says, is for the area that the money came from. So it means that the people within that area should also benefit from development. So if these people are people in Koforidua, they should also benefit. So the development should go to that place, not necessarily where maybe the palace or the bigger stool is. No, it's for the area that the money came from. There was also the issue of how do we monitor MCs when they get their share of the stool land revenue. The law says we should pay to the assembly. The assembly has well-structured system with auditors and all that who go through. So it is expected that they go through the procedure to also get this development done. In any case, the LI of the Office of the Administrator of Students, 2377, has empowered us to monitor some of these projects. So we go ahead to go to the assemblies to monitor the projects that they develop from student revenue.
I brought a letter to your outfit about our ground rents and the compensation. I was told that money is being paid to the families. Now, I'm asking, from what I heard here, 10% of the money goes to the office, 25% to the stool, 20% to the transitional council, and then 55% to the district assemblies. Please, this one, there's 225. If the money is being paid to the families come from the stool. And it's the stool that perform all the custom rights and the rest. So how in this one it is not being incorporated that the families to ask DSA or what cathedral they use to give the money to the families, because all families falls under a stool. So please, I want an explanation on this. Thank you very much.
Can the municipal assembly change the plans of the community without consultation with the community or the chiefs? That's the question. Thank you very much.
Not applying the 55% to poverty alleviating projects. So they requested of us to request from the assemblies a development plan. So at the beginning of the year, the assemblies will submit their plans to our regions. So for instance, if we want to take Gas South. So at the beginning of the year, Gas South will submit their plans for the year. And then so as we give them the money, we have a monitoring team. Director leads one of them. Director Asantiwa Kluche also leads another. They go to the regions and audit and check whether the assemblies are actually using the money for the projects that they intend or they promised to do. So that is the way by which we have over the years checked whether the assemblies actually utilize the 55% that are paid to them. Then there was a question about the fact that why are the families now the ones receiving the monies? That is it's a fact. When I started working in the administrator of school lands in the year 1999, there were only a few, about 30 recognized families who could come out and say we own land. As we speak, we have 319 families in the Greater Accra region who claim to own land. And not only claim to own land, they are the ones giving out lands in the Greater Accra region. You hardly find the chief of Asri signing documents. So if it is the families that are actually giving out the land, they have passed and published declarations in the past telling the whole world that the land belongs to them, and the stools kept quiet. They didn't raise any objection. And not only that, they are now actually selling. If you go to Bukwasi and those areas, which were traditionally known to be Asren lands, now it is the Amaso families, the Metal families, help me, the Dodu families. They are the ones giving out the lands. So if they are the ones giving out the lands and have prepared documents for the lands, then they should be entitled to the revenue. So that is the principle behind why the families are the ones receiving this. So I think it would be on the stools to call them. In the past, you put the person there as a looker to, what do you call them? To look after the land. You place him there as a caretaker. The caretakers have now become landlords. So I think Asre Jasi, is it Kutubong, right? Yes. You probably put these families together and have some sharing ratio with them. That I know that you are collecting revenue from the administrator of students. Henceforth, you should cede something to the paramount. That is the way to go, because it's become very difficult for us to see the money to the stool when in natural fact it is the families that are giving out the lands.
Okay, so that one is a legal matter. That sometimes you have to go to court to give us an order that this land is stool land. That
Go ahead, I'll support you.
so that this land is stool land. Lands Commission no family has authority here, get an order for us from the court. Then we will help you manage the land as such. If not, our hands will be tied because it's something that is internal. It becomes very difficult for us to jump inside your traditional area. But once you obtain an order and letters have come and it's with us, then we will stick to it like that and we can work.